Hello, my name is Lady Guzman, and this is the biopsychosocial factors to smoking. Biopsychosocial theory refers to the idea that behaviors result from simultaneous biological, psychological, and social influences. So it provides a more holistic perspective that will offer a way of distinguishing and integrating various forms of healing. This theory would also infer that disorders can be looked and healed through this lens of wholeness rather than symptomatic. Many individuals in society want to answer the question of whether things are because of nature or nurture, meaning, is it genetic or are we as a society causing these issues, these illnesses? The biopsychosocial theory would explain that it's both. Smoking. Smoking is referred to as the action or habit of inhaling and exhaling the smoke of tobacco. Now, while most commonly known as cigarettes, tobacco can be smoked in various other manners. And tobacco is a plant grown for its leaves, which are then commonly smoked. Nicotine. Tobacco contains a chemical called nicotine, and nicotine is very addictive. However, we must clear up that not everyone who uses tobacco is addicted to tobacco. And smoking is also not to be confused with vaping, which may or may not contain nicotine. This would be a case-by-case situation. Now, smoking is clearly unhealthy for one. Here's healthy lungs versus smoker lungs. As you can tell, the left lungs are darker due to inhaled tar, and they're damaged. They're much harder and more brittle. And the right lungs, which are the light pink, are the healthy lungs. They're stronger, they're softer, and visually you can tell. Outside of harming your lungs, smoking has many other risks. Here's an image that breaks them down. Smoking can damage every part of your body, cause cancers, chronic diseases, and much more. Smoking harms nearly every organ in your body, like your heart, your blood vessels, eyes, mouth, reproductive organs, bones, bladder, and digestive organs. Smoking is in no way healthy. Addiction. As mentioned before, everyone that smokes is not addicted to smoking. However, nicotine is the major component in cigarette smoke that leads to addiction. On the other hand, mental health has shown to be another reason for smoking. Individuals with chronic illness or unresolved trauma may lean on smoking for relief or dopamine. We'll talk more about this in the next slides. Brain imaging. Here is an image of a smoker brain versus a non-smoker brain. These are MRI imaging. Smoking causes structural changes to the brain's neurons. Using tobacco products causes loss of neurons and reduces the amount of oxygen and nutrients delivered to other cells. In theory, let's think of a rubber band on your wrist. Now, while the rubber band is tight on your wrist, it reduces the blood flow to your fingers, to your hand. This is what smoker's brain feels like. There is restricted neurons and oxygen and nutrients delivered to the brain. And so, just as smoking, when you take off the rubber band, this creates a need for more oxygen and nutrients to be delivered to the cells, which results in an increased blood flow to them. So when you remove the rubber band from your wrist and the blood flow is going to your fingertips, that feeling and that relief is what smokers are often craving. Biological factors and developmental aspects. So how do people develop their addiction or their habit of smoking? Brain imaging studies demonstrate that nicotine acutely increases activity in several areas of the brain quickly but shortly. As mentioned, similar to the rubber band, once it is removed, there's a rush of nutrients and blood flow. However, this feeling does not last. Dopamine signals to the brain that smoking is a pleasurable experience, inducing cravings of the high. And often that feeling of rush is what people are chasing. Biological factors and maintenance factors. So why can't people quit smoking? Well, when an individual begins to have the decrease of dopamine during nicotine withdrawals, this serves as a crucial component of why people relapse and continue. Some individuals might not even attempt to recover. Most of biological factors point to psychological factors as well, like mental health conditions that are unresolved through actual treatment, like therapy or medication. But instead, individuals opt out for smoking. The quick release of dopamines, psychological factors, and developmental aspects. As mentioned before, mental health is a huge aspect of why individuals smoke. According to the CDC, about 1 in 4, 25% adults in the United States are diagnosed with a mental illness or substance abuse disorder, but they smoke about 40% of the cigarettes. So mental illness and substance abuse disorder individuals make up 40% of the people intaking cigarettes. Those with poor mental health, not necessarily diagnosed with the condition, also correlated with higher levels of drug dependency and or tobacco use. So individuals might not have a specific condition like depression. However, if they struggle with mental aspects, they probably will pick up smoking for the quick release of dopamine, as mentioned. Environments with high levels of stress and anxiety also heighten the chance of people picking up smoking. For example, the military. When individuals are in an environment of high stress for long periods of time and no resources or tools of how to cope with stress or anxiety, they turn to quick fixes like smoking. Again, the release of dopamine is enough for them to be intrigued and probably continue to smoke. Brain scans. Here are some brain scans of depressed brains showing less activity as wood smokers. These images show a normal brain versus an abnormal one, and how depressed brains have much less activity than a normal brain. And this is often why people smoke, in order to get more brain activity, although it's shortly lived. The quick dopamine release and other neurotransmitters is a high they're willing to gamble with. Psychological factors and maintenance factors. The prevalence in smoking and relapse is particularly high among psychiatric patients. This is why people continue to use smoking as a coping mechanism. Many of these people need psychological help that they are not receiving. The brain becomes accustomed to constant doses of nicotine as well, and with any habit, it's difficult to break. Withdrawal symptoms include irritability, anxiety, difficulty concentrating, and thus some people opt to not quit smoking. Brain also lacks the dopamine or other neurotransmitters that avoid dealing with actual issues. As mentioned before, they might not have resources or are not willing to gamble with any other resources because they have this quick fix: smoking, tobacco. Social factors and developmental aspects. So socially, why are people smoking? Well, those who fall into peer pressure of in-group often found to have a higher chance of smoking. If you are constantly craving external validation, which some people do, if you have lower self-esteem, if you have lower tools of coping, lower abilities of coping or socializing, you might fall into peer pressure of smoking. Not necessarily needing smoking for dopamine, as mentioned before, not necessarily dealing with mental health issues, but maybe just as a social being, you like being in the in group, and thus you fall into smoking. Another social aspect is social and economic status. Many in the low social economic status are smoking. This includes race, ethnicity, cultural characteristics, social and lack of community empowerment. Many people in low economic environments aren't aware of how bad smoking actually is, and thus they feel that they can recover, or if they limit their intake, that it won't be much harm. Individuals in low economic status might not have the support to quit as well, or the the resources to quit, such as group therapies or any other type of nicotine relief programs. Social factors and maintenance factors. Why are people continuing to smoke socially? Well, peer modeling and non-judgmental environment and community facilitator supportive role are viewed as crucial elements of group support for quitting. In other words, individuals need a sense of community and support to quit such an addictive substance like tobacco. And if this is lacking, the chances of people quitting are lowered. Darker in 2022 presented how there's an absence of education. As mentioned before, many individuals are unaware of how terrible smoking actually is. Most individuals might also assume that smoking only harms their lungs, but as mentioned before, it harms many other organs in the body. Another resource missing is effective free nicotine replacement therapy. This has been found to be the most effective in nicotine withdrawals, but it is lacking in low economic status environments. It is lacking in many communities, and thus individuals revert back to using tobacco for nicotine. Another social aspect would be stricter laws on cigarettes and tobacco. Although laws have recently changed for individuals to consume or buy tobacco at age of 21, stricter laws need to be put into place and regulations of when and where and how old you need to be in order to smoke. As mentioned before, nicotine is the #1 addictive substance in tobacco. Smoking advertisements, then and now. Now, smoking advertisements play also a role in social aspects of why people smoke or continue to smoke. So long ago, there were cigarette advertisements that made cigarettes seem healthy, and also people viewed them as a sense of wealth or sex appeal. It was very social behavior and it was very accepted. Now, although this has changed recently, there is still advertisement for smoking. Instead of advertisement to stop smoking completely, there's advertisements about smoking, just simply not around children. The advertisement on the right shows you, it says, you smoke, your child smokes, take your smoke outside. A better advertisement would say, you smoke, your child smokes, quit now. Now, recovery advertisements are up and coming. There are recovery ads more prevalent now. For example, the one on the left says, stop smoking, start repairing. The image is quite small, but I'll run through it. It basically breaks down a week, 1 all the way up to about a year of recovery, and what you are, excuse me, and what you are healing, and what specifically in your body might be healing, and your mind might be healing. So this ad serves as a very effective tool as to an example of how sticking with it over time you will feel better. Recently in 2021, however, this image came out on the right, and I think it's really effective as well. This helps individuals realize that it does affect your lungs, and it might not be recoverable. You might not be able to recover from the damage you cause your lungs. Here in the advertisements, it says, don't let tobacco take your breath away. And it is a pair of lungs in a jar with cigarettes. It says, choose health, not tobacco. 31st of May in 2021. Now here's some tips for addiction help. As mentioned, everyone that uses tobacco is not addicted to tobacco, although there may be other reasons why they choose to continue to use tobacco. Whatever reason it is that people begin to use tobacco or continue to use tobacco or relapse from treatment or decide not to use treatments, here are some tips on how individuals can be helped. So as mentioned, those at higher risk of smoking are individuals with mental illness or from low economic status. Smoking is higher in social settings where in-groups are prevalent. This is due to the biological factors of the dopamine result of smoking, or the need and craving to be included and avoid ostracism. This is also due to the scarce resources in these income environments. Lastly, ostracism, as mentioned, could be combated through support and a sense of belonging elsewhere, a healthier setting. The best way to combat these factors, psychological, social, and biological, are through creating an inclusive, supportive community which offers education on health, help with recovery, and mental health assistance. The nicotine therapy, although not very prevalent because it is quite pricey, is a great way to give someone an alternative resource of dopamine that they may need. Although this is short-lived, it is a great way to insinuate how one can heal. Individuals oftentimes, as mentioned, they need support and they need education. They need someone to tell them that this is absolutely possible. Quitting tobacco is absolutely possible. And through therapies like the nicotine therapy, individuals can physically feel that. And through the community groups like therapy or educational classes, this is how individuals become involved and become interested and become committed to their health. There is no other way but support and inclusivity and inclusion of educational classes. Individuals need to become aware of what they are doing to their bodies. And here are my references.